Hello guys and welcome back to the Traitors. I'm back from Wales and that means that today we are going to be talking all things episode 6. Now we're halfway through the series at this point and I have to say this is probably the most chaotic and crazy season of the Traitors that I've watched thus far, and I'm including UK 2 and Australia 1. Both of those seasons are incredible, but this season, if it manages to stick the landing, could be the best one of them all. Let me know if you agree down below. I'm thinking this is absolutely spectacular. I'm loving the vibes. I'm loving the mystery. I'm loving the intrigue. It's really keeping me hooked. But before we get into the episode, I just want to say thank you guys for blowing up the Traitors on my channel. You guys are absolutely smashing it. So make sure to join the team and the fam and the gang and the ranters, all of those things if you are brand new to the channel. There is a button called the subscribe button. If you have an account, make sure to subscribe. If you haven't got an account, make an account. It takes like 2 minutes. Your nan could do it. Genuinely, she could. But anyway, we are going to be getting straight into the episode where we are going to be talking about who got murdered. Let's go. So, the breakfast table was slightly concerning because obviously it was down to Anna, Fozia and Livy for the 3 people that were potentially going to be murdered that night. We'd just seen Tyler off and I was very concerned that they might be going for Anna to try and wrap up that nice little thing in a neat little bow thing. But anyway, Charlotte is still thinking that it is Lisa. She's not been persuaded or perturbed by the whole priest comments. I feel like that whole priest thing came out of nowhere and was like, you didn't really need to say that because now people are sussing you even harder. But anyway, Lisa feels like she's absolutely solidified herself as a faithful, which fair and valid, you might have, who knows. And then last but not least, Freddie was like, Mina's not got any heat yet. Maybe we should put some heat Mina's way. Maybe we should do that. And let's just say, this episode, very important. Very important for Mina. And if I'm being 100% honest, I think she solidified herself as a faithful, I can't lie. So, unfortunately, or rather fortunately for us as the viewers, Livy was the person that got murdered and taken out of the game. Honestly, as much as I would have loved to have seen her face when Freddie gets banished, I feel like I prefer to just have her out of the game. I don't think I could have put up with another round table of her accusing Freddie like that. It was just too much. There was too much vim and vigour on her part for it to have been anything other than just a bit nasty. But anyway, we had a little bit of a theatrical show for breakfast in the form of Linda doing her best to just be like, I was so close to Livy. She was my best friend. And everyone's looking at her like, really? I've never seen the two of you interact. Oh, she was like a daughter to me. Or like a granddaughter. Wow, 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 wow. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute. Linda, bestie, what happened to not drawing attention to yourself? What happened there? Like, come on. Please be realistic. Please. We can't be playing these silly little games with you like this. Jesus Christ, it was just so jarring. So after breakfast, we head outside and interestingly, Anna decides to tell everybody about the letter, about the recruitment. But I feel like at this point, she probably should have just kept that to herself. I feel like that wasn't really helping anybody with working out what it was, because everyone kind of just went, well, why didn't you tell us yesterday? She was like, oh, I wanted to see what the traitors would do first, and they haven't killed me, so now I'm telling everyone. And I was like, well, that's a surefire way to get somebody to kill you again. Jesus Christ, this is ridiculous. But anyway, Dan was potentially suspecting Mina. He was like, I don't know about this one. Maybe it might be Mina. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not Mina. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. That was kind of what he was doing. And then, last but not least, Alexander, Joe, and Fozia were kind of all together being like, is Linda okay? She's crying a lot for someone that has never, ever interacted with Livy before in her life. I don't think I've seen a single moment with those two together. Maybe it's all behind the scenes. Maybe it's off camera. I don't know. But I ain't seen it. I ain't seen it, so you can't be gaslighting me like this. So, this brings us to today's mission, which was a very odd one and actually a very engaging one. It was called the Ceremony of Truth. And I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. Ceremony of Truth. What's all this waffle? What's all this waffle about? Who's Ceremony and who's the truth? That's what I'm thinking, right? Who is this person called Ceremony and what is her truth? But anyway, it's literally Backstab Central. It is absolutely crazy to watch this. So in twos, they would come up and they would pick somebody to gunk. That person then had to guess who gunked them, and if they're correct, they stay in the game. If they're incorrect, they get taken out of the game, and they are out of the running for a shield. So basically, this was a real game of, do you know the people you're playing the game with, and can you make it to the end and get a shield? That was what the test was. And actually, I thought it was quite funny. So we had Fozia and somebody else taking Anna out. Anna did not guess it was Fozia or the other person. I can't remember who it was. I didn't make very good notes. I was kind of engaged and then I was like, fuck, I've got nothing to write down because my next note is dropping like flies. So clearly 4 or 5 people just went out in a row. Then Dan and Leanne lied to Mina. So they gunked Mina, right? They gunked her good. And I was like, oop. Sorry, Mina. You have been gunked. And she was fuming because of her hair. And if I'm being honest, listen, I have friends who have that kind of hair and they would literally kill a bitch rather than get that shit in their hair. So I understood the pain and the torment. I don't want it in my hair, let alone like hair that is going to take forever to wash out. So yeah, I understood that was not fun in the slightest, and she was fucking fuming. And you could tell that Dan had no remorse whatsoever because he was like, I want that shield. And Leanne was like, oh, fuck, that's kind of deep in it. That's kind of deep. That is kind of fucked up of us. Ah, shit. Ugh. Then we had Alex calling Leanne out. I was actually kind of impressed with... Was it Alex or Alexander? I think it was Alexander, actually. And then, very interestingly, there was another one with Fran where Dan was also the culprit with Alexander. And Fran was also just as equally pissed off as Mina was. I think it's something to do with girls and their hair, you know. Like, it's just that don't touch their hair. Do not put anything in their hair. Trust me, it will save your life. Because, whoa, as we're about to find out, it was not good for Dan. So, before the round table, we have a few things to talk about. First of all, Joe is kind of hinting that it might be Linda at this point. And I was like, uh-oh. Joe, it's not looking good for you, bro. You're going to get axed. Linda's coming after you. And then Leanne told Mina that it was her that gunked her. And she was like, but I'm not going to tell you who the other person is. They have to come forward first of all. And Mina was like, I appreciate you coming to tell me. Obviously, I was pissed off in the moment, but like, I'm less upset now. But that did hurt me. I hope you understand that. And I was like, you know what? Fair and valid from her. But she then went to Dan because she knew it was Dan immediately. She went, fucking Dan, innit? It's definitely fucking Dan. Let me go confront him and see what he says. He didn't say anything. He kept stum. He did not say a single thing. And he's lying to both Fran and Mina, which is kind of deep because Alexander also went to go tell what's her name? Fran? Wait, Alexander went to go tell Fran that he also gunked her, but again wouldn't tell who the other person is. Yeah, it was kind of deep, I can't lie. Oh no, I think Leanne did tell her that it was Dan. It was Alexander who didn't tell Fran that it was Dan. Yeah, it's toxic. It's toxic and crazy. This whole thing was just toxic and crazy. When you get the gunk involved, it's not fun. It's not fun in the slightest. Okay, so we have the round table now. And I am aware that we're only about 10-ish minutes into this. But this round table was potentially one of the best examples of a traitor having another traitor's back that I have ever seen in my whole life. Like, this was spectacular gameplay. But we're going to start with Anna, who was not so much spectacular gameplay. So she's revealed the recruitment, right? I still think to this day she should not have revealed the recruitment. That was not a smart position to be in at all. Repeat after me. not a smart position. It was just bad. It was not a good outcome for her in the slightest. And I was like, oh, why is she doing this? But then she was like, I looked out for the faithful. And I'm just like, did you really though? Because you did hide this for a whole day. I'd have voted your ass out just for that. Then she was questioning who brought up her name at the round table a couple of round tables ago. And obviously, this is when the whole table just kind of like falls apart because no one can remember anything past yesterday. So then we move on to Jake asking Linda, yo, why you cry? Why you cry like that? Like, you and Livy were not close. And Linda was like, oh, it's because I loved Livy. She was amazing. She was incredible. Yada, 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 yada. And then Charlotte and Fozie are like, no. Hang on a minute. Did you though? Did you really love her? Did you though? And I was like, actually, Linda, you can't even back yourself here. You got nothing to say because you've got absolutely no legs to stand on. And that sucks for you. But also, how can you expect that to happen when you've got fuck all to do? This is not working for you in the slightest. Oh, it was so jarring, I can't lie. It was actually super mega jarring. But then, we move on to a wild and crazy moment where Fran and Mina kind of just are like, who gunked us, who marked us, who did this, who did that, just around the round table wanting answers. And I was like, ooh. And then finally, after like denying it several times, Dan admitted it. And I was like, ooh. This is interesting. And then all of a sudden, everyone pounced on him. It was crazy. He was quizzed by Fran. He was quizzed by Mina. And when I tell you, Mina managed to take all of the heat that was on Linda and put it onto Dan so expertly well that not once did she defend Linda and implicate her in Linda's mess, but she managed to move all of the attention from Linda to Dan just by her outrage. And I was like, wow. And I've seen a lot of people be like, oh, I'm upset with Dan. I'm upset that Mina is sort of like, how could he lie to me like that? And then people are pointing out the hypocrisy of her lying because she's a traitor. Just to like clear that up, one of them, Mina, is having to lie for the game. That is her role in the game. So her lying is forgivable for the sense of like, that's her position in this game. But Dan is choosing to lie to her. He is a faithful. He has no reason to lie, to deceit, to do all of that. But he's choosing to do that. Do I think that's a good gameplay technique? I think we're going to have to wait for more people to get selfish at this game. Because he's playing the game in the correct way. Everyone is still far too concerned about being nice to each other. Pally. Ooh, let's work together. This game is not about working together. This game is about getting to the final and then working out who the traitors are. If you can get a traitor or two along the way, cool. But they're going to be replaced. Okay? There's no point in actually traitor hunting until you get a lot deeper in the game. So at this point, it's just getting rid of the people you're pissed off with. And I think that's how Dan saw it to an extent. So, yeah, I don't know. It was kind of sad, but he was like, I wanted that shield and I knew that you would be the person that wouldn't guess me and I'd get that shield. I'm sorry, I had to do it. And then they ended off with a little bit of banter to finish off and I was like, ooh, this is kind of cute and kind of fun. But the round table was just toxic. Like, it was really toxic. And they finished off with a bit of banter, so it felt a little bit lighter. But, like, when I tell you, I was, like, the entire time just... That shook me. So, voting time does roll around. And we start off with Charlotte voting for Linda. Jake voting for Linda. Anna voting for Alex for some unknown, ungodly reason. I don't understand why she would throw that vote away. Alexander voted for Linda. Mina voted for Dan. Leanne voted for Dan. Leon voted for Dan. Dan voted for Leanne for some fucked up reason. Then Linda voted for Fozie. Fran voted for Alex. Again, I don't understand these Alex votes. Joe for Linda. Fozie for Dan. Lisa for Dan. Freddie for Dan. Alex for Dan. So Dan wound up with 7 votes against him. Linda ended up with 4, Alex with 2, Fozia and Liam with 1. It was craziness. Absolutely craziness. Because as recently as the last episode, I have been praising Dan for his gameplay and how the fact I think he's going to make finale. He's close to Mina. And that one little bit in a challenge fucked his game up. And Mina was able to save Linda again. I was absolutely just blown away by that. I'm sad to see Dan go because I actually really liked Dan. I thought he was very entertaining and he's a lot better than some of the other blokes that we've got in there. Like, well, actually, no, we've got rid of Tyler now. Who else have we got to get rid of? We've got to get rid of Joe. Oh, God. But anyway, he is gone. He's been banished. And I think everyone was kind of shocked to hear that he was a faithful. But I think people are just too much on the bandwagon of, oh, he wasn't a good faithful because he wasn't helping the team. No, he was helping the team. He was helping the team weed out all the shit people first so that he could have the good people at the end. So, really, was he doing a bad job? Not really. So, after the round table, there's a secret mission at hand. And this one had my heart racing. Because not only did they have to do something in plain sight, they had to write people's names on a painting in the bar room. What? Huh? What do you mean? This is fucking ridiculous. What if someone walked in and spotted them doing this? What would have happened then? Hello? What were you expecting? Oh, it was absolutely hysterical. So they had to pick 4 players to play a deadly game. And I was like, oh, this is quite fun. This is funky. They had to, like, get people out of the library, which was really, really funny. And then they had to search for a quill. Then they had to go back to the bar room. And there was this painting with, like, 4 gravestones. Now, the people who were picked were Leanne, Alexander, Anna, and Fozia. Now, Linda was the one doing the writing, right? And do we remember how she writes her Zs? Like 3s? Yeah, she did the same thing on the fucking gravestone. Oh, no. She wrote it the way that she writes her, like, chalkboards in the actual round table as recently as the last round table. I think she's just baited herself out there. Either that or she's got to be like, someone's trying to frame me. Someone's trying to frame me because they've seen that I do that Z, so they're trying to copy it. She's got to spin this. She's got to, because they're going to clock her so badly. And it's so embarrassing if she gets caught because of a fucking handwriting error. That would be so embarrassing and mortifying. So then we head to the death game. And we actually got to see a lot more of this death game than I thought we were going to. I don't know whether it was an extra long episode. I wasn't really looking at when the episode was finishing. But this was so much fun. They each got given 2 cards. One person had the life card. And everyone would take it in turns to take a card from another player and swap it with one of theirs. And essentially, I was like, this is incredible. This is brilliant. This is just what I wanted from the Traitors. A cheeky life or death game. Absolutely. So the first round, Anna won it. The second round, Leon won it. No, Leon lost it. Alexander had it at the end. So Leon had it first. Then it got given to Fozia. And then Alexander managed to just randomly get it. And then the last round came down to Leon and Fozia. Now, if we're talking gameplay tactics, who is best for the Traitors to go home? It's Fozia. If we're talking who I want to go home, well, I don't want Fozia to go home, but I also don't want Leon to go home. So it is a little bit tricky. I would have rather they got rid of, like, Alexander or Anna, I don't know, just somebody that was a bit more boring. But yeah, I don't know. This is a really interesting twist. It's something they've not done before. And I think actually it's very exciting for them to be trying new things and for it to be working 100%. So that is pretty much it for today. There's not really much else to talk about. I'll probably have lots more to talk about in the upcoming episodes because it's about to get down to the nitty gritty. But I just didn't have many notes today. I think I was watching it with friends, so I wasn't taking as many notes. So I didn't have as many observations because we were kind of chilling and chatting. But yeah, this was a really, really fun episode. I had a fantastic time. I hope you guys did too. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Do all that YouTube stuff that you guys do so well. And I will see you guys later. Make sure to keep on ranting. Bye now.